All right, today we are diving deep into a really remarkable personal memoir called Mystical Adventures. It's this incredible story that follows one man's lifelong spiritual quest, a quest that starts with a strange feeling in childhood and leads to encounters with the, well, truly unbelievable. It's going to be a wild ride into the inner universe, so let's get into it. So, the author does something brilliant right at the start. He breaks down the title, and that's the perfect way for us to frame this whole journey. First up, mystical. And we're not talking about just some vague, fuzzy belief system here. No, this is about the pursuit of a direct, tangible connection to something bigger. That feeling of awe that just completely transcends everyday life.
And then you've got the second part of that title, Adventures. This is a huge clue, right? This signals that this isn't going to be some quiet, passive story. It's about actually plunging headfirst into the unknown, taking real risks, and exploring the hazardous and exciting territories of consciousness itself.
So, where does a journey like this even begin? Well, for the author, that call to adventure started really early. It was this constant, nagging feeling throughout his childhood that he was, well, different, that he didn't quite belong here on Earth.
And this was incredibly real for him, not just some kid's fantasy. He even tells this story about a placemat he had as a kid, with a little spaceman on it that said, "Take me to your leader." And for him, it felt like a familiar inside joke, like a little wink from a home he couldn't quite remember.
And the signs just kept on coming, and in some really strange ways. I mean, just imagine this for a second. You're a kid, you're stepping up to the plate at a little league game, and the catcher on the other team leans in and drops this incredibly specific prophecy on you about a young guru from India. What do you even do with that? And get this, it wasn't just in his head, it was this deep physical pull. He describes feeling an actual chill run down his spine whenever he heard words like India, or meditation, or yoga. It's like his body already knew the path he was on long before his mind had any clue. So eventually, all those feelings, all those little nudges from the universe would lead him across the world. He was about to cross a major threshold, to take a journey that would turn all that vague yearning into a direct, powerful, undeniable experience. The thing that really kicked it all off was a near-death experience while surfing in France. He wipes out, and in that moment, he sees this brilliant light and the image of a small Indian boy. Just days later, he's on a trip overland, making his way through Turkey, Iran, Afghanistan, and he lands in Delhi right as the India-Pakistan war is breaking out. And that's where he finally meets him, the 13-year-old guru from his vision. Now, here's the thing about this young teacher. He wasn't offering a new religion or a bunch of rules to follow. Nope. Instead, it was a challenge. It was basically a scientific proposition. Look, don't just take my word for it. I can give you the experience directly. You can see for yourself if any of this is real. So how did he deliver on that promise? Well, this experience came through 4 very concrete, very specific meditation techniques. Each one was like a key designed to unlock a different inner door. One for seeing an inner light, another for hearing the subtle music of the universe, a third for tasting a physical nectar, and a fourth for actually feeling that direct connection with the energy of creation. And the result? Well, you can hear it in his own words. It was completely overwhelming. This was it. This was the proof he'd been searching for his entire life. He finally felt like he was home. The doors to his inner world had just been blown wide open, and he'd just been handed the keys. But, a huge experience like that is never really the end of the story, is it? It was just the beginning. From the ancient mysticism of India, his journey now pivoted, leading him to explore the modern, scientific approaches to consciousness right back in the West. In the 1980s, he ends up at a week-long program at the Monroe Institute, a place he calls the Disneyland of Spiritual Exploration. And what they do there is use this really cool sound technology called Hemisync, basically using specific frequencies to get the 2 halves of your brain working together to induce altered states, like out-of-body experiences. And it didn't take long for things to get, well, pretty wild. We've got excerpts from his actual participant log, and on just the second day, he's describing this state of pure joy and freedom, sailing inside, before the guided audio session even kicked off. And by day 4, things went to a whole other level. He logs this experience of communicating, without words, with beings from outer space. He said it was so profound, so full of love, that it completely overwhelmed him physically. He was sweating, with tears of pure joy just streaming down his face. Okay, so if you thought that was out there, hold on.
because from this point on, his explorations dive into even more unconventional territory. He starts seeking out other guides, and this leads to experiences that really start to defy any easy explanation. He started working with two different channeled entities, which is fascinating. On one hand, you had Mafu, who brought through this deep, ancient, historical wisdom. And on the other hand, you had Zoran, whose whole philosophy was about teaching through laughter, play, and joy, believing that that's the best state for your subconscious to learn. Two totally different paths, right? But both aiming for the same goal. But the story in this entire memoir that just makes you stop and go, wait, what? Is this one. He's working a normal job as a computer programmer on a secure naval special warfare base, of all places. And he says that one day, an alien walked out of the building with him, got into the passenger seat of his car, and just silently rode with him for 10 miles. So what do you even do with a story like that? He doesn't present this as a dream or a vision. He says it was a real physical event. It just forces you to ask the question, what are the real boundaries of our reality? Was it a hallucination? Or is it possible it was something more? So after all of this, from gurus in India to sound labs in Virginia, from channeled wisdom to alien passengers, what's the ultimate lesson? What was the treasure, the boon that he brought back from this incredible lifelong journey? Well, his final conclusion is a really profound one. He realized that while all these external teachers and gurus and guides, they can give you the tools, they can point the way, they can even show you the door. But you are the one who has to actually do the work. The real power to transform yourself is already inside you. In the end, all of those wild, otherworldly experiences, they all distill down into a few really simple universal truths. His journey taught him that love is, without a doubt, the most powerful force there is. That compassion is the glue that holds us all together. That real wisdom doesn't come from a book, it comes from direct experience. And that the greatest treasure, the kingdom of heaven, the jewel, it's not out there somewhere. It's already hidden inside every single one of us. And ultimately, this isn't about whether you believe every single detail of his story. It's about what his journey suggests about our own potential. His adventure was uniquely his, for sure, but it leaves all of us with a really powerful question. What incredible adventures might be lying dormant inside our own minds, just waiting for us to discover them?